Hey friends, just wanted to follow up. Before the holidays, I released a letter from a young wife and mother about her sexual assault and rape by a pastor and in leadership in her church. Um, and this is a follow up to that. I had a sit down several months prior with a group of women. This woman was part of the group, and she asked me a question in that group setting about how does she process the guilt and shame that she has um, from a result of this repeated activity from this pastor, especially since she had saved herself from marriage. So all she had ever known was her husband. And here she is married and a young mom and being raped by a pastor. And so we started very slowly down the process of talking about that guilt, the shame, and the innocence that was lost. And we've edited the video to remove any voices other than mine. So this is your intro to that video. Guard your hearts, be open. We love you. We're here for you.
In essence, you feel like somebody took your innocence from that, which a lot of women who've been raped as a child have to deal with that prior to marriage or has been sexually abused as a child. I think that's a common thread with people who've been abused. But then you need to take in consideration a woman who's been married and then divorced, or either married and widowed and then has another husband. Are they able to move on? Now, those were their choices. And this guy came and put something on you that you didn't choose, right? He did something to you. So if we looked at it like he came and cut off an arm or a leg, like you would get a prosthetic and keep moving forward, right? You'd be remembering of it, but it wouldn't keep you from moving in your life. You are going to have to walk this thing out where somebody did something awful to you, whether it's hit you with a car. It's not the same weight to your soul, obviously, then take something from your innocence and from your sexual relationship with your husband. What's been amazing to me is that your husband doesn't see it the same way. He sees you as being violated, but he doesn't see you as being dirty or tainted, where you feel like you've been tainted or you feel like something's done with you. So that is because you came out of that purity culture. Now, does God desire for us to save ourselves for a husband? Yes, that's what I did too. That's who I am. I get that. But you didn't have a choice in the second thing. And the devil did a bad thing. And an evil man did a bad thing. And as you heal from that, God will heal that feeling of shame and that feeling of it wasn't your choice, right? You didn't go off and have an affair. You didn't go off and commit a sin. It was done to you. And so it's walking a process of healing for you that, and it's amazing because your husband doesn't see it that way either. You know, you're still his perfect. You're more perfect now that he respects you more for carrying it so long and not like just carrying it on your own. He can't believe you're able to do that. And he wants to be that knight in shining armor and he wants to fix everything for you. But because you're a strong woman and because you're a leader, you feel like you should have had more control in the situation than you did. And you feel like you should have done more than you did. So you also feel responsible for it happening to you instead of it just happening to you. So he didn't just take something from you. You feel like you allowed something to be taken from you. And I think that's the difference. Whereas you don't just see yourself as a victim, you see yourself as a contributor because you feel in your strength and who you know you're called to be, you felt like that person should have been present at that moment, right? So we're still going back to guilt and shame. We're still going back to, I should have been able to do that. So until you're able to say, I couldn't, I give up. Now I can acknowledge that in that place and in that time and the situation I was presented with and what happened to me, God, I wasn't strong enough. I didn't have it, even though I blame myself for a part of it because I didn't stand up and fight the way I should have. I feel like I should have done. You're going to have to forgive yourself for that. And you're going to have to see yourself back in that situation that you just didn't have the tools then. And you just didn't have the strength then. And the enemy took advantage of that. And instead of seeing yourself as both victim and contributor to the problem, you need to see that you were victimized. And I think when you see yourself as victimized, then you can place the blame where it needs to be placed. And then when you can place the blame where it needs to be placed, then you can take the blame off yourself. Give yourself freedom then to let go of shame. As you let go of shame, you'll let go of guilt. As you let go of guilt, you'll realize He can't take something from you because he couldn't take what was precious. And what was precious was given to one person. You didn't give it away again. And he can't take something that wasn't given. He can violate something, but you can heal from that. But you didn't give him anything precious. He can't take what you don't give. And so your process will be to put blame where blame is. And once blame gets there and you can forgive yourself, then the shame and the guilt and all that will come off. And when that comes off, you'll recognize that you were a victim and you can heal from that victimization. You know, and out of that, the strength that's going to come out of that is amazing. But you'll be able then to restore other people, and God will restore that place in your heart. You won't feel like something's taken from you anymore. And I think you feel like it's taken because you feel like you also contributed and allowed it. So when you finally realize that you are headstrong and you are strong-willed and you are a strong leader, that's why you're around with me. That's why we have you around. Um, in that moment, you weren't. In that moment and in that season in your life, you were weak. There was multiple things, factors happening all at the same time that put you in a vulnerable place. And because of that vulnerability, the devil took advantage of it. And you need to acknowledge, yep, the devil took advantage of me at this opportunity, at this time in my life, and he won't ever do that again. Because now I know and have the tools to protect me, set boundaries, and do it for other people as well. And that'll be the gift you have coming out of this. But that's why you feel like something was violated. Does it make sense to your head now? Yeah. So we'll move from victim and contributor to victim, putting blame where blame goes, and allowing shame and guilt to follow that.